Hey guys, I swear before I went to bed last night, it was January 2025. This year has flown by. The older I get, the faster time goes. And it is going fast. 2025 was just a flash, a blur. I hope y'all had a great last year. I myself think 2025 was the year I've grown the most in my entire existence here on Earth. I've learned a lot about myself. I've broken a lot of bad habits I'd created for myself. And overall, I think moving out of 2025, I am in a much better headspace than I was going into 2025. So I'm very thankful for that. And I've been very lucky and fortunate this year, but I've definitely also had to put in a lot of work myself to get to this point. So good job, me. I'm proud of us. Today, I want to talk about my list of 10 different things I did this year to better the mental health. Better just like my overall existence, feeling at peace with myself, liking myself, feeling comfortable existing in this world. Some things that I've done that have really helped improve this existence, because for a couple of years there, especially first half of 2024 was amazing. Second half of 2024 was the most difficult half year of my life. I went through something extremely traumatic that summer and it rocked my world. It rocked my world. I can giggle about it now. It's actually not even a giggling matter. It's very, very serious, but it was a rough one. I just never thought I'd get out of the headspace I was in at that time, and I'm very thankful to be here. Let's just say that, okay? So I'm gonna go over my 10 things, and then toward the end of the video, I'm gonna talk about some things that I'll be working on through 2026, or that I hope to implement into 2026 to even further enjoy my existence here. Is that too dark? My list isn't really in any particular order. This first one is probably gonna sound kind of dumb and cheesy, and like maybe some of you won't get it, but the very first thing I did in 2025 was got a cat. Okay, getting a cat, like, there is just something, if you have the love of a cat, you're gonna understand. If you've never had the love of a cat, you will not understand this one, but the energy of a cat is powerful, okay? And like, I love Bismarck. I love Bismarck so much. He means a lot to me, but honestly, I do more for him than he does for me. You know, like, I'm his emotional support animal. Bismarck takes my energy. There's something about a cat that they like give energy. My cat was a rescue, so it took like 4 months before she ever like laid by me at night. But the first night she laid on my chest and purred, I was healed. It healed something within me. I think there's a lot of like science-backed evidence that a cat's purr is actually proven to be healing, or have a, I don't know, they have a good vibration, you know? The 2 years after my cat died, I just felt like something was missing, and 100% it was the energy of a cat. I feel there's something about Cleo that makes me feel so safe, so secure, so energized. And I don't know, like, I truly, this is gonna sound so crazy woo-woo, I feel healed. Like, there's something about getting a cat that really healed me and like calmed me, and I don't know, it does something to my nervous system, okay? Anyway, I love cats. They're powerful. I love the fact that you have to earn their trust and respect. So yeah, that was a really great thing to come of 2025, and I'm so happy to have Cleo sleeping on my chest every single night. It's the best thing in the world to me. A happy side effect of her sleeping on my chest here, and me being afraid to move because I don't want her to leave me, is I started sleeping on my back more. I've always been a side sleeper, and I know it's not great for my spine health, but Cleo has helped me become a back sleeper. And my nighttime breathing is no longer like this, through my mouth. I breathe through my nose, okay? Happy side effect. The second thing I've done this year is time wasters. Especially since having kids, there's a whole new pressure to provide a certain level of comfort in life. Having financial stability for my kids, and also being able to do the extra fun things that always cost money. Ryan and I have put a lot of pressure on ourselves to work to be able to afford a certain lifestyle for our kids, a lifestyle that I certainly didn't have growing up. I think putting that pressure on ourselves to constantly be like working toward a better living situation kind of took away from my love of time wasters, okay? Doing dumb, pointless stuff that's like, what am I even getting out of this? And the true answer is what I'm getting out of this is contentment, joy, just like playfulness, you know? Juggling a soccer ball. What do I get out of that? Kind of, I mean, it's exercise a little bit, but like outside of that, I get nothing out of it. I don't play, I mean, I play in some indoor leagues and a summer adult tournament, but outside of that, like it doesn't really contribute anything to my lifestyle, you know. But laying in the grass, picking grass, you know, even reading books, I kind of gave up for a long time there because it just sometimes feels like such a time waste. Like I could be doing so much. In the hour I'm doing this time waster activity, or 15 minutes I'm doing this time waster activity, I could be scheduling my planner, editing a video, coming up with concepts, you know, like working on those kinds of things, which I do enjoy, don't get me wrong. But I just think that this year I have found a more balanced way of living. And yes, my paycheck has suffered, but I think it's been worth it for the mental freedom and clarity and just overall enjoyment I get out of life. I love a time waster. I love climbing. Yeah, I've climbed a few trees this year, which it's been a long time since I climbed a tree. Doodling. I love to doodle. I love to paint my nails. I've started painting my nails again. It's kind of a time waste, but I love it. Yeah, just a whole bunch of things like that. I've started doing, I've given myself the freedom to do if I get the urge to. And overall, it's changed so much for me. It has. Number 3 is I go outside every single day. I know some of you guys are probably like, what? You don't go outside every day? You know, I used to go outside every day. I love being outside. I love being under the sun. I hate the winter. So wintertime is really hard for me to go outside. Since getting chickens, it's kind of helped because I have to go out and check on my chickens every day. If I don't go check on them, nobody is. And how do I know if they're safe, secure, happy, and warm if I don't go check on them? But outside of that, like I used to take my kids on walks every day, and I stopped doing that because people's dogs where I live aren't leashed a lot of the time, aren't secured a lot of the time. And we've had many dogs charge at us. Most of the time they've been nice, had a situation. Yeah, anyway, we've been charged by a bunch of dogs, and it made it really hard for me to go outside where I live. And I've started going outside. I've started driving a couple cities over where people are to like some busier roads, and people don't let their dogs out like that in those areas. So, you know, I've just had to adjust a little bit, and now I can have my outside runs. I can go for my outside walks. I can take Bismarck on a walk and not worry. And it's been so good for me. It's been so good for me. Number 4 is I let go of having a perfectly tidy home. This one is still a little bit hard for me. There's a lot of pressure to keep an immaculately tidy home, especially on the internet. I don't think anybody in my real life really cares, but sharing things on the internet, there's often a lot, like even now, there's judgment for having untidy homes. And there, of course, is a level where it goes from untidy to like disgusting, of course, but I just have really fought the urge to keep a perfectly tidy home. And it is still something that I am like kind of internally battling with myself. It's probably going to be something I battle for a long time. But I do feel like even with kids, I was able to keep a pretty clean, tidy home for a while there with no real clutter anywhere. And it was not like I was spending so much time every single day just tidying just for that mess I tidied up to be out an hour later. You know, like it was a constant battle every single day, constant battle. And I don't think it was very good for me mentally. I haven't learned it yet, but I am learning to embrace the chaos and be okay with clutter. My kids have toys, my kids read books, they draw little pictures that end up everywhere. You know, like I am never going to be able to stay on top of that until my kids are grown up. I don't want to waste any extra time while my kids are young chasing a tidy home when it's just not the reality I live right now. You know, like I could be tidying 24/7 and like then I could probably keep up on it, on everything. But coming to terms with that has been good for me because it's freed up a lot of time for me to do a lot of those time wasters or do other things that are on this list that have really improved my overall well-being. Yes, I let go of the perfectly tidy home, and a lot of this has come with unfollowing social media accounts that make me feel like I need to keep my home at a certain, that I need to keep my home immaculate. And I feel like I have unfollowed so many people that have made me feel this way. Not even that they're trying to like push it and be like, you're a bad parent if your house is untidy or whatever. No, not even anybody that's pushy about it. But if I'm scrolling and I see somebody's perfectly tidy home and I catch myself like looking around at my perfectly untidy home, and feeling that comparison kind of kick in, I have to unfollow for my own mental health. I'm sure that's probably not a popular opinion, but I just think that social media makes me feel a lot of pressure in a weird way. And I don't want to put that pressure on myself unnecessarily. And where I'm in kind of a weird space of life, you know, early parenthood, like, and where I already feel uncertain about a lot of things in my life. I don't want that to be a comparison I'm making from myself to another person. Yeah, and drawing those comparisons is a thing I need to work on. But for right now, I just think unfollowing is the best for me. Other things on this list are just more important to me than a tidy home. And that's something I need to remember. Like, if people have perfectly tidy homes, especially if they're a parent, having a tidy home is probably really high on their priority list. It's just not high on my priority list at this point. So I need to let that go. I need to close that door and not think about it. I don't need to dwell on that anymore. Number 5 is daily movement. And yes, I mean daily movement. This has been so crucial to me. I have a lot of anxiety, I'm a very stressed out, like, I'm not type A, but I am very like kind of like stick up my butt a little bit sometimes because I want things to be a certain way. I want my day to be mapped out, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform a certain way or for my life to look a certain way. And I think that having an outlet for a lot of that pent up stress, anxiety kind of emotion I get balled up in here, having a physical outlet has really helped a lot of that be released in a more healthy way, I feel. So like when I get, so like either my heart rate is going to go up because I'm overthinking, over planning, over stressing myself out, and then that will release that stress. That stress and anxiety just like leaking out of me, the stress and anxiety. But I find if I have some form of daily movement where my heart rate gets a little high for however long, that's a more natural release of that pent up energy that I'm storing inside of me. And yeah, like running has been huge for me. It doesn't even have to be running because I know running isn't for everybody. Daily stretching, yoga. I also this year started learning some dance moves. And the moves I've been learning are a really freaking good workout, if nothing else. Even just like bounding, like if I don't really have time in a day for a true like workout, lifting, running, learning a new dance move or anything like that, I will bound, which is like you just bounce up and down on your toes, keep your arms relaxed and like let your body bounce, you know. Even juggling the soccer ball, like I talked about, I have incorporated a lot of different forms of daily movement into my days, and I think that it has been a really healthy release for all this pent up energy I have. I'm a naturally energetic person, and I think being a naturally energetic person, sometimes I can feel like trapped in my lifestyle. Like I can't always be going on an adventure, which I think is what I really crave. I'm an adventurous, energetic person. And if I'm not having that adventurous energy, it gets trapped in me and it leaches out in the form of stress or anxiety unless I find a fun way, a fun, high energy way to release it, you know, that feels new to me and fresh to me. Like finding some form of daily movement in my day has been incredible for me. Thing number 6 is I stopped consuming true crime content. And this one is a little bit crazy because, you know, I was following all the true crime content creators, I still follow a lot of them, but I don't click on videos very often. Like I watch a true crime video like maybe once every couple of months now, whereas before, as creators were posting new videos, I was constantly consuming them. Like the second they would come out, I was listening or watching that true crime content. And I know this one's probably going to be a little controversial because it's important to be informed. And I know a lot of what kept me watching a lot of it, even though it always left me feeling yucky and like uncomfortable and stressed out and like honestly scared to leave my house because it made me fear other people. Like I just kind of thought everybody was a psycho a little bit. I know that this one is a little controversial because it's important to be informed, and I know the family and loved ones of victims of true crime, especially a lot of the true crime we see online where things aren't solved, they're like trying to get justice. I'm sure those people really want eyes on their loved one's story, and there is an aspect of that where I do feel kind of guilty that I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I do think it's important, but I just realized it was really bringing me down in my daily life. And I know this one's I'm probably going to get some mean comments about this. I'm kind of nervous about this one, but for me, maybe for you, it's fine. But for me, it's not healthy to be constantly consuming all of these really sad stories, and they're not even stories. They're like someone's real life experience that sits really heavy, and it's not something to be taken lightly, of course. I feel really guilty. I feel really guilty about this one, but I do like it has made such a big difference. My outlook on the world and existence is just a lot more positive. Like I think, especially as a stay-at-home mom, like I don't go into a job and interact with other people every single day. I'm pretty isolated majority of the time. It really made it hard for me to go out into the world and have conversations with people because genuinely it made me fear anybody but myself. I'm like, anybody and everybody I'm talking to like could be a psycho or could be a murderer or could be like out to get me kind of a thing. It made me very apprehensive and untrusting of other people, of other human beings, and I don't think that that's healthy. And yes, of course there's a level of horrible things can happen to anybody, but I just really needed to distance myself from constantly day after day after day learning about a new tragic occurrence. Like it really weighs, and again, it's different for everybody. It really weighs very heavily on me, and I would linger on that throughout the day and like kind of carry it around with me constantly. And yeah, I am still trying to find a balance of this where I can like be informed and, like keep my eyes out or like do what I can for victims or whatever, but I can't be consuming every single piece of true crime content I come across. It honestly made me really depressed. It really, really made me depressed. And kudos to true crime creators out there because I don't know how you do it. That's such a heavy job. It really is. To constantly have these people's stories at the forefront of your mind and constantly thinking about them and working on them, like kudos to you. I respect you so much. But yeah, just for my own mental health, I had to stop consuming that kind of content as frequently as I was. It's been really good for me. Thing number 7 is more a happy result from the overall less stress I feel as a result of a lot of these changes in my life. And it is that I eat a lot better. I eat a lot of a more whole diet, and I'm not snacking on like junk food as much. Don't get me wrong. I still snack. I still have my treats and chips and snacks, but I just am not emotional eating the same way I was before. And this has made such a big difference in my life. I got really even like hooked on Coke Zero, and I still have Coke Zeros a couple times a week, but before it was like once or twice a day I was sipping on a Coke Zero. That was not good for me. And I just think that where I'm feeling a lot better about my existence, I'm not relying or coping so much on comforting myself with like junky foods. And like I still enjoy junky foods, don't get me wrong, okay? I still enjoy junky foods, but it just like like naturally over the year, what I was eating at the start of the year to now is just drastically different. And it's not even that I was thinking, oh, I'm going to change this. I'm going to cut this out of my diet, you know, kind of a thing. It was nothing like that. It just was kind of a natural transition I made over the span of my year where my mental health got better and better. I felt less overall stressed or overwhelmed or anxious. I have naturally just wanted to eat, like felt the urge to eat foods better for me, you know? And to my next point, thing number 8 is I no longer cook every meal, which I know those two probably seem like the opposite of each other. Like, yeah, we do go out to eat and have our junk food or whatever, but I was putting a lot of pressure and stress on myself to make these super, I don't know, like complicated meals and put a lot of pressure, especially where I'm cooking for my kids, also 3 meals a day for my kids. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that every meal had, you know, like so many vegetables, so many fruits, so many, I don't know, like just really trying to stay on top of all of that, which it is important. I'm not saying it's not important or something I think about, but I'm not putting so much pressure to make these like immaculately like perfect or even perfectly healthy meals. Like my kids can eat a quesadilla for lunch and that's fine. And then when they get hungry later, they can have an apple, you know, like this is one I still struggle with. And sometimes I feel guilty if I'm not making a full course meal with like 2 different sides, a veggie, a fruit, you know, all those things. And I was doing that for a really long time and it just really was not good. It's okay to make a quick quesadilla and have my kids eat that. It's okay to let them eat cereal for breakfast sometimes, you know, like within reason. Of course, there is a balance here, but I think that by letting go of that like diet perfectionism that I felt for not only me, like actually more so even for my kids, they're going to be okay. They'll be okay if I let them eat some mac and cheese for dinner, you know, like for some reason, I really stressed about that kind of thing. It's good to be balanced. They're definitely eating, you know, like we're definitely still consuming fruits and vegetables, a variety of fruits and vegetables. I'm still cooking solid dinners a few times a week, but it is okay. I've realized it's okay to not go all out for every meal of every day. Cooking takes a lot of time. It's a lot of pressure. And yes, I had to let go of that. And I'm glad I let go of that. I feel so much better. And I think my kids can feel that I feel so much better. It's been good for all of us, truly. Number 9, I guess kind of everything on this list falls on this one, but I got rid of things that no longer serve me in a more like hypothetical sense, you know, the getting rid of the idea of having a perfectly tidy home at all times or making a nutritionally diverse 3 meals a day for my kids, you know, letting go of those things as well. But I'm talking specifically like all my plants. I've gotten rid of so many plants that I didn't find enjoyment out of. I got rid of my grow tent. I took down and got rid of my grow tent. It was no longer serving me. I was serving it. It became a stress and a chore in my life. It was just like another thing to upkeep and pour my energy into. And where I was already pouring so much energy into others, my kids, my pets, the plants I still do have, you know, Ryan, all these different, myself, you know, like it just was another thing that I was having to pour from my glass to their glass, and my glass was frequently very empty. So getting rid of a lot of those extra things in my life that no longer brought me the joy they once did has been really, really, really beneficial. And like, especially my grow tent, I think is the big one. Not only do I have a lot more time because I'm not having to clean out the grow tent twice a year, which was like always just in the back of my mind that I needed to clean it out at some point, keep everything watered, but then make sure that, you know, it was warm enough in there and that it was humid enough in there, but not too humid, you know, like allowing there to be airflow, all those different things. It was just really not good for me at the end of the day. And where I've kind of, and I did originally get the grow tent for my plant shop. I am here to announce 2026 is going to be my last year for the plant shop. I'm going to sell my last round of plants I've been propagating, and that's going to be it. I've just gotten rid of a lot of the plants I was propagating for the shop. You know, a lot of the plants that people like to buy, you know, like the more tropical philodendrons and those kinds of things. And I will probably still sell plants very, very casually, like on my Instagram story every so often, you know, like when my own plants need to be chopped and propped. But I'm taking away that pressure from myself to constantly be chopping and propping everything for the sole purpose of keeping my plant shop going, because I do propagate. I over these last 5 years that I've had my plant shop, every single plant I've sold has been propagated from my own plant. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and I do really enjoy it. But a lot of the plants that I fell out of love with was because I was over propagating them, and I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to propagate them when I feel the urge to propagate them, and not so much the urge to keep my plant shop going, you know? So yeah, that's just another 20. I mean, I'm not getting rid of this one yet, but 2026 is going to be my last year of the foliage fix, which is so crazy to say. I can't believe it. I'm really proud of the foliage fix. It grew, it did a lot better than I ever imagined it would. And I've learned a lot from it. So if you would like a foliage fix plant propagated from one of my plants, one of my plants in my collection, this is going to be the last opportunity to do that. But I will have quite a few plants available this year. Like, I do have quite a few plants that will be for sale this year, but once they're gone, they're gone. I'm going to be shutting it down, being done with that. So anyway, yes, I got rid of things that no longer served me. Thing number 10 was I held my boundaries this year. How I mentioned summer of 2024, something really traumatic happened. It was within my family kind of a thing, and it was something that happened between me and a family member. Although I do this because not really a family member, they are cut out from my life. I had to cut out multiple people from my life, and that has been very, very difficult. And even then, my relationship with my whole family is just different now. I feel a lot more, I don't really feel like I have a comfortable relationship with my family at this point. And I know that probably sounds really sad to a lot of you, but I feel very at peace with my choices. And I think that the fact that I have set and held boundaries for myself, I just feel really proud of myself. And I think that this is a big one, because this one is probably the hardest one. This one has been the hardest one on the whole list. You know, there's been a lot of pressure in my family for me to have relationships with these people, but I'm just not going to do that to myself and have a fake relationship with someone. I'm not going to have fake relationships with people that make me feel yucky and unheard and unrespected and all those things. As hard as it is, and as much as I wish kind of that I could just let it go, it's not something I'll ever be able to let go of. So just the fact that I've made that commitment with myself and stuck with it through this year has been very good for me. I have a lot of respect for it's given me a whole new respect for myself, that even as much pressure as I've gotten through the year to, the example I'm using, have a relationship with these people, but I've stuck to my guns and my heart and how I feel and how I know is the best for me and my family going forward. You know, it's just a hard thing to do. And I think just the fact that I've held that respect for myself through this year has been very liberating for me in a really good way. I feel strong, and even though sometimes it is really lonely, I would rather be lonely, not be surrounded by people that I don't feel really respect or care about me. So that's how I feel. So that's my 10th. So that is the 10th thing I've done this year. And yeah, whenever I'm doing something now, I'm doing it because I enjoy it, not because I feel obligated to do that thing, you know? I'm just having a lot more fun these days and not taking life so seriously, which has been good for me. It's so easy to take everything seriously because everything is serious to an extent. But then looking at the broader picture, we are on a rock. Okay, we are on a floating rock, all of us, and we're all trying to figure out, and instead of let's climb a tree. Let's stand in a stream. Let's climb up a mountain. Let's juggle a soccer ball or play dumb board games, you know, like those are a lot of things my life was lacking for a minute there. And I just feel so much better. I know some of you guys have been kind of worried about me. I get DMs and comments all the time like, are you okay? I get the sense that like something isn't quite right. And I appreciate you so much for worrying about me. I'm doing so much better now. Like truly, I feel so myself again. I've found her. I have found her. And I know that sounds cheesy. Anyway, going into 2026, my big thing this year, this is my last year of the foliage fix, and I think making the decision to close the foliage fix will be good for me. And I also think that this year I'm going to really relish in any of my plant shop things I need to do, you know, to keep it going. I'm gonna really soak it up, enjoy it, because it is coming to an end. I'm very excited to go through this next year and sell all the plants and hopefully sell all of the plants I've been propagating all this time. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I do really enjoy the propagation aspect of it, but it'll also feel really good once I'm done with it, because it is, you keep plants, you know how much time it takes and how much love and care and TLC can go into nursing small cuttings into like decently rooted sized plants to sell. I know you guys know about that because you do it too, but yeah, it's gonna be fun to finally be done with all of that. I'll be honest, and get some of my time back. In 2026, I see myself running some more races. Ryan and I have been talking about some big life change type things, adjustments we may be making in the year of 2026, some changes we will be making that we're both very excited for. So just kind of preparing for all of that. And yeah, like I think my big thing in 2026 is, you guys know, this channel for the last 8 years has been about plants. Before that 8 years, it was about nails. I just did my nails last night for New Year's. But you know, it was about nails before that. I think I've kind of been really good at putting myself in a box, and you know, when I put myself in a box, I think that it has really worked well for me. But what I hope for myself in 2026 is to be able to expand my horizons here more. I will always make plant videos. I will always love to talk about my plants and do plant care vlogs with you, you know, like where we do our plant care together and all those different things. But I do think that I want to start posting more outside of just the plant realm. And I've really struggled with this thought. I think it comes back to the wanting to keep a certain like level of financial freedom, but I've decided that that is not worth it to me to force myself to create something my whole heart isn't in. Anyway, I'm willing to give up the money, the glory that I've gotten over the years of just posting like plant videos, you know. I want to expand my horizons. I'm gonna feel free to create what I want to create on whatever topic I want it to be. So this is, I guess, if you are here only for the plants, like this is me being like, things will be changing this year. And if you aren't here for all the stuff outside of plants, like I totally respect that. 1000% respect that. I will still be posting plant stuff, but that's not going to be my sole content topic anymore. I just can't. I feel like I've exhausted all of my ideas in the plant realm. I've truly, when it comes down to it, a lot of my just care routines and habits and like, you know, like the propagation bins, I've already talked about those so many times in 100 different videos. All the products I use are the same. I am not going out and buying new plants constantly, which was a huge pillar to, I feel, my success on this YouTube channel. People love watching a haul, but you know, like I've just already made so many of those videos. It would be inauthentic if I kept coming up with new routines or methods or things that I'm not actually using or feel necessary in a plant keeping repertoire. I don't know. Okay. I hope maybe I'm over explaining, but yes, this is just me telling you things are going to be changing on my channel, and I 100% respect and love and care for you if you decide to leave. Like truly, if you don't want to see, if you're not prepared to see, or it'll annoy you or make you feel any negative way to see my face pop up with whatever topic I decide to do in a week, that week, that isn't plants, like this is my respectful invitation to you to unsubscribe, because it is going to be changing. It is going to be changing. Plant videos will still keep coming, but it's not only going to be plant videos. It's going to be when I really feel in my heart I want to do some plant care together, then we'll do plant care together. And I can't even be like, oh, it's going to be every other week, because I don't know. I really don't know. If some planty video inspiration hits, then I'm going to create that video because I feel inspired by it, but I'm not going to force myself into that box to create what my heart's not behind, you know? So anyway, yeah, but like I appreciate you so much for sticking with me all this time and helping my channel to become what it became. It's been a wild ride. And yeah, like if by all means, this is me shaking your hand. This is me hugging you goodbye. Hug. Don't tell Ryan we just kissed. Okay. I'm gonna go now. If you get the sudden urge to stand up on the table and do a jig, do the damn jig, okay? Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next time.